Hey everybody, hope your day is going well. We are back with another reaction. Maisie Peters, History of Man. And this was a request by Jess Messica. Thank you so much for this request and donation. This will be my first Maisie Peters song as far as I'm aware of, at least on the channel, but I don't think I've ever heard a song by her, at least not knowingly. So let's jump in. I'm excited to discover an artist that is new to me. Let's go.
Tale as old as honey, a moment everybody knows.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm sure there was heartbreak inside the walls of Jericho. I couldn't believe it, how you could just stop wanting me. You burnt down Easter Island, as if it wasn't sacred, as if it wasn't sacred to me. I've seen it in the poems and the sands. I've pleaded with the powers and their plans. I tried to rewrite it, but I can't. It's the history of man. She stays up, he's sleeping like a lamb. She begs him, he says he doesn't understand. She loves him more than anyone ever has in the history of man.
Wow. Oh, that's an amazing concept and exploration of that. We get a little bit of a historical, elements here, references, but also she loves him more than anyone ever has in the history of man, but also using it in so many different ways. So we have the history of man, of humankind, but also in the history of man as in male himself, but also in, just in the history how men behave as well, right? I like that. That's great. So using that same sentence and concept to explore multiple meanings within it. And yeah, there was heartbreak inside the ancient city of Jericho, right? And you burned down Easter Island. There was a fire there, right? Not too long ago. How old is this song? And if it wasn't sacred, and then you could extrapolate like, yeah, nothing is sacred to man, humanity, but in this context, a male that leaves her. Yeah, that's great. I try to rewrite it, but I can't. You can't rewrite history, and also in the relationship, just the things that brought you there is what happened. You can't rewrite it. Beautifully done, man. And then she stays up. He's sleeping like a lamb. Again, the sacrificial lamb, like he's innocent, not bothered by this. And this part, she is more thinking about the relationship. How can we save it? Why aren't you as bothered as me? Like, you look dismissive. You don't care. You sleep like a lamb. It keeps me up. Am I the only one who cares? Kind of thing. Wow. And her voice is familiar, but is there a song that is really famous or something that I might have heard? Her voice sounds familiar, and I love the melody in her voice, and there's a sultry quality to it as well. Very easy to listen to.
The history of man. It's the history of man. You didn't even falter, didn't look back once, did you? So Samson blamed Delilah, but given half the chance, I would have made him weaker too. Sirens sounded, trumpets blaring. You walked out all without sweating. I've seen it in the poems and the sands. I've pleaded with the powers and their plans. I tried to rewrite it, but I can't. It's the history of man. She stays up, he's sleeping like a lamb. She begs him, he says he doesn't understand. history, the history of man. I stay up, you're sleeping like a lamb. I beg you, and you don't understand. I hold on, I try to hold your hand. I save you a seat, and then you say you wanna stand, so you lose me. The best you'll ever have, it's the history of man.
Wow, hey, that's a great song, man. Sounds amazing. I really, really like the cadence and flow she was using. Like, you know, that back and forth. I love that. Just so easy to listen to, flowed so well. And yeah, she spat her venom, as she said. You're gonna taste it now, my boy. You're gonna taste it. Very, you know, the history, actual historic elements in it, pointing to like, oh yeah, these things in the ancient cities or wars that have been started by men but got blamed on women, right? Like Troy and Helen. You know, Troy hated Helen for having an affair, and then there's basically a war with nothing really to gain, right? In his eyes. So yeah, you know, there was no gain in it, really. And then there was another one, Samson and Delilah, right? So the downfall of Samson is often blamed on Delilah as well. I think she betrayed him to the Philistines, right? Oh man, I gotta brush up on that. I'm not sure, but you know, all these historical references of the history of men are in there, and then also the usage of that she loved him more than anybody ever has in the history of men. I really love that part. That's good, man. And yeah, you're still my great obsession, though. Wow. Good stuff. Good stuff. And then also there was another one that she followed up, like Sleeping Like a Lamb, that dismissiveness, uncaring, but she begs him. He doesn't understand. Like sometimes the feigned ignorance could also be something like, I don't get it, man, you know. And then she also said, you didn't even falter, didn't look back. So still, it looks like you don't even care. You just walk out without sweating. Yeah, man, that's good writing. Beautiful. Maisie Peters. All right. My first Maisie Peters song. Her voice did sound familiar, but I had the idea when she went sometimes in the little bit, the lower, in the deeper register of her own voice, she reminded me a little bit of Miley Cyrus a little bit, in terms of the voice. Just in some parts, it was reminiscent of that. So, yeah. Give me more recommendations. This was awesome. Really well done. I really love the way they did this lyric video too, with the cards, you know, laying out the cards like tarot or history, and it's not in our cards, the relationship, you know, wasn't there. You know, I love that creativeness of lyric videos as well. So really well done. Whoever did that, her team, or, you know, good stuff. Thanks again for being here. Hope you have a great day. Goodbye.